Is Overwatch actually saved, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost. And what I want to know is your very early thoughts on Season 11 competitive. Now, I asked on Twitter, I said, hello, how have you guys found Season 11 so far? Now, it's only been live for a couple of days. My sort of sample of data to pull from is I've played 22 games across 2 different accounts. I've played LFG Tool 4 times, and all the other games have been in the just the solo queue, the normal way we would play Overwatch competitive. So I think to begin with, let's touch on LFG. Now, I really like LFG. It's got a few major positives with it. Number one, you get to play the hero you want to play, which is a huge thing, right? There are some issues where, like, if you've got 2 main tank players on a team, and if you've got 2 tank slots, that's obviously not ideal. You don't want a Winston and a Reinhardt in your team. You want, like, a main tank and an off tank. But you can kind of get around that by saying, hey, guys, you know, is the other tank player a main tank or are you a flex tank? So there are ways of getting around that. But the fact is, most of the time, you get to play the type of hero that you would like to play. However, there are some issues with this system. Now, it can take some time to find a game, which is okay. Like, I don't think that's an issue necessarily. I don't mind waiting if it's going to be a good match. All of the games I've played in LFG have been fairly close games. It hasn't been a complete whitewash. It's not like some guy is just completely, you know, is amazing and just wipes out the other team. That doesn't really happen. What I have noticed happening, though, and this is pretty frustrating, and this has happened in 2 of the games that I've played in, is the enemy team completely counters your team. And it's really frustrating. You can try to work around this, but the fact is, if the enemy have got, like, what would, let's say, like, the quintessential meta comp right now, which would be Reinhardt, Zarya, Hanzo, Mercy, Zen, and then maybe they put in a, I don't know, let's say we're on Lijiang Command Center, because this is where I got done, and they've got a Junkrat. That team comp there is really good. And then you look at our team, there's me playing a Reinhardt, but then we've got a Widowmaker main, okay? Now, Widow's strong, but not very good on Command Center, but keeps playing it on Command Center, and we're getting destroyed, you know, or we have other issues. And, you know, the team do try and work around. I mean, the Widow main that we had, she did say, okay, I'll try and play Junkrat. It wasn't very good at Junkrat, but at least tried to do it. But you get these sort of mismatches in that kind of way, which can be a little bit frustrating. The other issue as well is it kind of comes down to when you get locked into a role. It is good being locked into a role in one way, unless you come against a team which is capable of flexing, right? Now, this obviously is a bit of an issue. So if you go in with locked roles and you're like, we're playing 2-2-2 and that's all we're going to play, but the enemy team have got flexible roles and they're able to start swapping their comps around, they can actually destroy you with kind of crazy comp selections, which is like, ugh. So LFG itself, I don't think it's going to be the way I'm going to play Overwatch competitive, which sounds kind of crazy considering it's something that I've been asking for, because I think it's neither here nor there. It's fun, and it's definitely something you can do if you're looking for a more structured game in a way, and if you're looking to play a type of hero, but it still has a whole host of problems, because these guys are generally guys you've just not, well, you've never played with them before, right? And again, this happens at the end of the game. You normally just leave the group and then find another group. It's very rare that a group sticks together. Okay, let's talk about solo queue, because this is where most of my playtime has been going. And solo queue is an interesting place now. It is definitely less toxic. People are definitely trying to get endorsement levels. Now, I'm level 2 at the moment on the Lazine account, which I'm most likely using footage for in the background of this video. But this, this account's been an interesting one. It's one I've been trying to primarily shot call on, and I am getting a lot of shot call endorsements, which is great. It feels great, but it still suffers from the same problems that solo queue always suffers from. That is, we don't know what's going on because everybody's got private profiles, so it's actually worse than it was before. And this is the other bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, in this video. I really do not like private profiles. I like the idea of them. I like having control over, like, the account, and I think that's a great thing Blizzard are trying to do. The problem is, when you don't know what anybody plays on your team, you cannot possibly build a team. It's so frustrating. So a lot of the games start off with me going, hey guys, and then they'll go, oh my god, is that you, Stylosa? I'm like, yeah, hello. And then I'm like, what do you guys play? And then people will just either won't say anything, and then we'll just pick, you know, a hero which maybe, I don't know, like, let's say they pick a Mei, and then you've got a Reaper, and then you've got, like, somebody picks a Reinhardt, and then somebody picks a Genji, and you're just like, guys, we need, like, some supports or something, you know, and then you pick the support, and it's the same thing, right, where people are still just insta-locking heroes in, because now you don't actually know if they're a bad insta-lock or if they're a one-trick. You know, like there was a Reaper guy I played with who I'm fairly certain was a Reaper one-trick. I'm sure I've seen him before. Just locks into Reaper and doesn't really say anything. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And at the end of the day, these players, you know, they can play the game how they like. But my issue is you just don't know what's going on your team. And actually, this is worse than it was last season. Because last season, yeah, people would insta-lock in and, you know, that's always going to happen. But what wouldn't happen is... I guess you could look at their profiles and think, oh, maybe if I change my hero, right? Now, this happens sometimes, yeah? So if I locked in as a Hanzo and then I'm looking through the player profiles and I see we've got a Hanzo with 80 hours of Hanzo, I'll just swap off the Hanzo then and then they can play the Hanzo. I played a King's Row game, and I've probably used the footage of the King's Row game, actually, in this video because it does make sense. In this King's Row game, I started the game off as Reinhardt, but there was another guy on my team who was a Reinhardt player but didn't actually speak up, didn't say I'm a Reinhardt player, was just going along with it. And it was very clear that we didn't have any DPS, so I'm like, I've got to play DPS here. And then I said in the team, look guys, we've got no damage, can I play DPS? And then somebody went, oh yeah, I'm a Reinhardt player. And I'm like, oh god, like I did not know. I would have known last season. So you can see how this is a bit of a problem. But there are pros and cons for the private system. I want you guys to let me know what you think about that. Is it good, is it bad? On the one hand, you can hide your profile and you can be like incognito. On the other hand, it sort of hides who you are. Like, I think there needs to be a middle ground here. There needs to be some ground which is reached, which shows the team heroes that you want to play, and maybe your playtime on the heroes, but you can hide all of your other stuff, like maybe your SR and all of your stats. You know, that would be fine to me because I have no idea. Like, one thing I always do when I join a game is I'll scroll through, I'll press P because I'm playing on PC, obviously, and then I'll scroll through the player names trying to see what heroes the guys play. I don't actually go in and look at their profile and look at their stats and their win rates. I don't care. I'm just looking to see what they're comfortable on, because in Overwatch, you have to play what you're comfortable. Now, I'm probably the same as all of you guys out there, right? I can play certain heroes to a much better level than other heroes, right? My Mercy is not very good. Yeah, I've played Mercy quite a few times this season because nobody else has played Mercy. Like, so I will play her. But ideally, I would like to play, you know, a main tank or maybe a Hanzo or a soldier because I know I can, or a Zen, because I can play them to a much higher level, yeah? Now, somebody on my team might look at my profile. I mean, my profile is public anyway, but they might look at my profile and be like, oh, actually, hey, I can play Mercy because I'm a Mercy player, but I don't know that because maybe theirs is hidden. And this is a problem. So there's this very weird thing happening with the team selection phase in solo queue where everybody's like trying to guess what people play. Sometimes people will be like, hey, can I play this? Can I play that? Other times people are just totally quiet. Like crazy off-meta one tricks, they are just sort of, I guess, in a land of glory because they can just, you don't know, you know, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad or a good thing, but it's just really weird. It feels really, really weird now. So what do I want to see after this test period of like literally 22 games and like 3 days since competitive has gone live? I think what we ultimately need to move towards here to make this like a really good experience is LFG is fun, but I don't think people are going to prioritize LFG over just going straight into the solo queue. The solo queue is still fine for matching you together with teams, and it does it really fast. And the games are obviously, you know, SR range balanced, so they're still decent games. The problem is you don't get to pick the hero that you want to actually play. Now, I think a couple of ways around this is if you look at the LFG system and sort of take some of the elements from that and put it into solo queue. So what I think would actually be pretty good is if you could queue in solo queue with a type of say you're almost queuing into a game where everybody wants to play as, let's say, a 2-2-2 comp, right? So 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 DPS. So you select that as an option, and then you say you want to be a tank in that selection. Then you click find group, and other people who have gone for the same search parameters then get put together, and obviously it matches 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 2 healers. That would solve the problem. On the other hand, right, and I know Blizzard do not want to force the meta. They do not want to say to us, like, right, this is how you're playing. Everyone's playing 2-2-2. Because like I said earlier on in the video, even with the LFG system, when you come against groups that have got flex slots, often they can counter your pick, counter your team completely if your team's set in stone, which is a bit of a problem. So if we had this flexibility while we were queuing up, I think that would be great. I think one thing we will never see is being able to select the hero, like just going, I'm going to play Ryan and that's all I'm going to play, so don't put me with other Reinhardt players. I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think that would work. I think instead, having the option to pick between different team comps and to say, okay, I'm willing to go into 6 into a 6-stack, well, obviously it's 6-stack, all of it's 6-stack and comp, but you're willing to go into a group of 6 flex slots, yeah? So you click flex slot, flex group, and then you queue. That'd be fine. Would I do that? Probably not, because I think there is at least, you need a tank and a support. But would I like to be in a group where I know there is a main tank, a main support, and an off support? Yeah. And then the rest could be DPS. To me, that'd be great. Or another tank. Or the rest could be flex. I think Overwatch, when you really distill it down, all you need is a main tank and a main support. From that, you can then start building a team. Because if you've got a Reinhardt or a Winston, who are arguably the best main tanks right now, and then you've got a Mercy, you can build a team from that. Even in absolutely dire situations, the Mercy can still solo heal through that. I mean, it's going to be difficult, sure, and you do want a Zen with that, and maybe additional supports as well. But at least the option would be there. And that's the only problem I've got right now with the sort of LFG system, the solo queue system. I think it's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. Like, what I'm trying to do is give, not so much give feedback, but have a constructive discussion with you guys, because I want to see what you guys think about this in the comments below. And remember, you can send me stuff on Twitter as well. Like I said, I asked on Twitter and I said, guys, what do you think of Season 11 so far? And the responses were, pretty interesting. If I just quickly blast off a few. I mean, there were almost 300 responses on this. And people were saying, oh, there's toxic throwers. I hate private profiles. It's just a normal season on Overwatch. I hate private profiles again. Nobody's talking on microphone. Every game's a 6-stack. It's hard. So that's another thing, right? So when it's a group against a group, it is more mentally taxing than just solo queue, which can arguably be seen as an easier way of playing the game. Somebody asking about new sim, Brigitte is broken, etc., etc. But a lot of the sentiment that was coming from that is players are, I think they're happy with it. I think we're all happy with LFG. We're all happy with the endorsement system as well. But I think we just need a bit more to make it just... but we're getting there. We're getting there. We know Blizzard sometimes can be, a little bit slow to make changes, but they are making positive changes. So I really want to stress that. I think this is overall positive for the game. I think private profiles are a problem, and I think they need to be sorted out. I'm not saying we just go back to how it was, but at least give us some information on the people we're grouped with, so at least we can try and build a team. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa, and this is Unit Lost. Let me know what you think about this. It's been a pretty heavy video on discussion and details and stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. All right, guys. I've been Stylosa, this is Unit Lost. If you enjoyed the video, and then like the video, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. Toodaloo.